one thing for sure, and this is something that is very interesting as an element in the discussion, is whether once the opening takes place outside on the street, in such a powerful circumstance and also with such very clear symbolic acts like Reza putting the handcuffs on Shahidul's and wrists, and Mahashweta Devi actually opening the handcuffs with the key, and the handcuffs then representing freedom publicly with the hands raised. That is that in itself is an artistic event.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a performative event.
It's a performative event. Once that event takes place, what is the role of the exhibition? This is a very large question, I know, but once that event takes place out on the street...
I think it's an element of the show.
You
I
think
think
it's
the performance, Shahidul's tour with the computer in the gallery, that piece of theater outside are all elements that complete the show. Some were improvised, some happened because of the circumstances, some happened because of the subject.
And then
you still have this list.
Yes,
can we get back to the list?
Yes, and we can actually add the new pieces that they were the unexpected pieces of the exhibition.
Yeah.
So
the handcuffs.
The handcuff
performance. Handcuff performance. And the video Skype tour. The video Skype tour, which was a very moving moment in the exhibition. I think people should have been led one by one.
Yeah.
In the dark. That's one option.
Another option that I was thinking is, was it possible to think about having the images brought out of the exhibition space and displayed outside? Would it be like a legally possible or you know impossible to do
You're
that?
getting back to reality.
Yes, I don't know. I'm talking about. It's not that I like it, you know, but I'm thinking about.
Well, I actually gave. I talked to Reza that we should have prepared a small set of prints. So when the police stopped us, we could have brought the images and we could have distributed to the audience, or maybe with the students from Pakshala can hang on this in the streets,
yes.
As well as we can take part also in the symbolic opening in the streets.
Postcards with the text on the back too, you know, a set of postcards where you could have the caption in the back and the images. That's a form that could have been handed out, you know, in a folded postcards together.
Because I think an exhibition like this, it was meant to be an occasion to make something, a statement that you're saying. And so, as an artistic event as well, the thinking of the possible options that you can make it happen in a different way, vehiculating the same message, but you know, in sort of simultaneous yet different ways. It could have been an interesting thought, you know, before the exhibition was put together. No?
Can I come in on some of these?
Yes.
I've missed most of the discussion, so I'm coming in at a late stage, so I might be repeating some of these things. But I would like to twist this thing, if I may, in terms of what I think an exhibition constitutes. I think if you consider the gallery space as the exhibition, that's a very limited understanding of the exhibition. You have to listen. Yeah, you have to listen. I think I agree that these were all pertinent aspects, but I look at the exhibition as a strategic intervention, not in terms of either the photographs or the space or these elements. And for that, there are some very, very interesting things which are part, I believe, of the exhibition, which need to be included, because we don't have the space, and I'll put them in. One is the police. Yes, very significant. Government position.
The Dutch massacre.
Yeah, yes. Well, the international presence.
That, of course, that comes later, but in fact it depended upon these elements for this exhibition to have the effect that it is happening now. Quite frankly, had the police not intervened in that way, had they not been as stupid as they were, this exhibition would not have had this effect that it now has. And that's part of the equation. We know the police are stupid. So you have to take into account, work out what those particular aspects are. We know the government operates in a particular way. So those are things to look at. But I actually think that when we are talking of what could have been done and what was not done, one of the things we're assuming is that social interactions are finite, are rigid, and happen in predictable ways. It doesn't. Yeah? So I think the way in which any of this work needs to operate is to push the limits at each stage. And what one needs to remember is that this particular body of work is at a point of time where certain other exercises have been tried and attempted with various degrees of success or lack of success, and you then find a wedge of a space that you think might work, which might not, but it has to be attempted. And it is only, and I actually think the point of the exercise is far more valid in terms of what's happening here in this room now, because this discussion is taking place based on the events that took place at that time. And this itself has not happened, as far as I know, based on a previous exhibition.
Yes.
So I'm looking at it much more in terms of work in progress, as opposed to a finite, closed piece. And to me, that, yep.
Which yes, but what you're saying actually, we've been analyzing.
Perhaps you said it, so
yes,
I recognize.
No, of course. I mean,
but I'd like to go a little bit further, since I'm here. I was here earlier.
We analyzed like the physical entity of the exhibition, like in the elements that are being displayed there. And then we've been also touching, like different options in terms of, like how much you knew of the police government position at the time, how much you strategized on that to, as you say, to get to the point that you had a new possibility of.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in the entire discussion, so I can't comment on that. I'm just bringing some things in. Certainly it's not a position of either being defensive or not. But in fact, I think some of the weaknesses of the exercise had nothing to do with the exhibition itself, but in terms of the post-exhibition planning. For instance, one of the things, you're getting late, yeah? He's got to go.
I have to go.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, you confirm what we've been saying. Also in response. Sorry, what is your name?
I'll
Yes.
ask you a question after.
Yeah.
How would you do it if you take it to a different place? Let's redo the show in a different
Yeah, then you can do that.
How does it work?
And you actually state what I was trying to explain in terms of your strategy. And then what we've been talking about are options of, what we are opening up here is not at all about totally analysis of your work, or, but it's more about
What options
doubting,
are there and how you make decisions?
strategic decisions. And I think in an educational context like this one, in this kind of discussion, of course we're using, this
as a starting point,
because it's very interesting to analyze it, because of course it was not a static exhibition that you can only talk about.
Bye.
Ciao.
Have a nice
Sorry,
day.
guys. I'm gonna come back.
Take care, buddy. Yeah?
Okay.
Thanks for everything. How you develop that strategy for critical engagement. One of the things we hadn't, while these had been anticipated, there were certain things we'd done which were new for us. For instance, usually this exhibition had been planned a long time ago, and we knew that there would be trouble. One of the things we'd done internally, it didn't work 100%, but we tried it, was to ensure that the word was not spread. I mean, a few people knew, but we had deliberately decided not to let people know that this show was taking place. Probably it didn't work, and there were a few mistakes, and the news leaked out, and those sort of things happened, but by and large that was a strategic decision. We needed to get international media involved, so we let international media know